Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum friends. Welcome back to another episode of Football Gupshup Transfer News. Please do subscribe to the channel, press that like button as well. And if you can please share this channel with your friends and let them know about Football Gupshup, it would be really nice. So let's start today's transfer news. And I want to start straight away with the likes of Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest are making really some exceptional kind of transfer moves in the transfer market. We have seen them linked with lots of quality players, but this one is quite a good one, and it comes in the face of Emmanuel Dennis, who plays for Watford. Nottingham Forest have made a 20 million bid to Watford for Emmanuel, and it seems that the deal could almost be sealed and could be completed by the weekend. So Watford will earn pretty good bucks, as well as Nottingham Forest will receive a very good player who really had a good campaign previous season, and I think that this one is going to be really good quality addition. I think the likes of Ivan Toney and Emmanuel Dennis, they were really one of the surprising players, which really amped up their performances in terms of scoring goals as well as leading their team in terms of striking department. And I think Emmanuel Dennis will be a quality addition. And in fact, I think Emmanuel Dennis is a player who could easily score between 15 to 20 goals for his team if provided by the service. And it seems that Nottingham Forest are trying to get that kind of prospect. I think a player like Shea Adams, if you compare him with Emmanuel Dennis, is a completely different kind of player. Whereas Emmanuel Dennis is more of a prolific scorer and he can easily get those goals. It seems to be that Nottingham Forest have really worked this transfer out, and it's more about that the fact that Nottingham Forest are looking to see beyond the season. It's not about that if you're not able to get those wins and can't survive in Premier League. It's more about the fact that if you really want to think about the season after as well as the one after. Now, Nottingham Forest, their way of doing deal in this transfer market is quite exceptional. And if they get Emmanuel Dennis, this will prove the point that Nottingham Forest are really working hard right now behind the scenes to get their team standard a little bit upwards in the Premier League fraction. Now, we will be heading towards another club, and it has to do with West Ham United. It's regarding some of the outgoings, and it's Nikola Vlasic. He has joined Torino on a season-long loan from West Ham. There is option to buy included in that deal, which is around 15 million euros. So Torino adding a very good player, and it seems that West Ham United are trying to raise some cash because they themselves are spending in the transfer market. Now, there is another news regarding Serie A. It has to do with Nikola Milenkovic. He has signed a new contract at Fiorentina until 2027. He was, in fact, linked with Manchester United, I do remember, 2 seasons back. Now, this time around, it seems that he will be staying at Fiorentina and continuing his career over there. Now, we'll be moving to another transfer news, and it has to do with Manchester City. And this is coming out quite surprisingly. We do know that Manchester City are looking for a left back, and it was regarding Cucurella, who moved over to Chelsea. He was edging closer to City, but due to the valuation difference between City and Brighton, Cucurella didn't get his move to Pep Guardiola's team. But Pep Guardiola is looking for a left back, and this player, it has come out pretty surprisingly, and that is Renan Lodi. I really like this player. I think that if Pep Guardiola gets Renan Lodi, it's going to be really good piece of acquisition. He plays for Diego Simeone, and he has been really good for the last 2 to 3 seasons. And it seems that Pep Guardiola have seen his quality. And remember, Pep Guardiola got Rodri from Atletico Madrid. So Atletico Madrid and Manchester City have a good relation. And I wouldn't be surprised if Pep Guardiola goes back to Atletico Madrid and tries to bring Renan Lodi to Manchester City. Now, we do know that Manchester City are also looking at Guardiola. So far, RB Leipzig haven't given any indication that they're willing to sell Guardiola this season, maybe next season, but it seems to the point that Manchester City would want to be at least interested in Guardiola in case if RB Leipzig do decide to sell him this summer. Now, we will be moving to another news. It is regarding Napoli. They're closing in to seal the deal with Keylor Navas, and it seems that Keylor Navas will sign a new contract with Napoli, and he will play for Napoli because of Donnarumma. He's the number one goalkeeper in PSG. So for that reason, Keylor Navas is going to move over to Napoli. That means bad news for Chelsea because Napoli were also interested in Kepa, but it seems that Kepa will be staying at Stamford Bridge until and unless another club comes in and inquire about him. But it seems that Keylor Navas is going to be the goalkeeper for Napoli. Now we will be moving over to another news, and it is regarding Juventus. They are signing Filip Kostic of Frankfurt. We do know that Filip Kostic didn't play yesterday in the UEFA Super Cup, which Real Madrid won over Frankfurt 2-0. And Filip Kostic wasn't selected for that game. It seems that he's having his medical at Turin. He'll be joining Juventus, and that means Juventus will be adding another good quality player. Now, this news, which I'm going to tell it to you now, guys, is quite surprising, and it has to do with one of the former Chelsea and Arsenal forward, and that is Willian. He is set to sign for Fulham on a free transfer after having his Corinthians contract terminated a season early, and that means he'll be coming back to London and play for Fulham. So Fulham also working in the transfer market to improve their team. Now we will be heading towards another news, and it has to do with Nottingham Forest. They have signed Demo Ferreira for a figure of 9 million euros plus add-ons. He's going to be signing a 3-year contract, and it will be a new addition to Nottingham Forest. As I've said to you guys, that Nottingham Forest are moving in this transfer market quite sensibly. Now we will be heading towards Napoli and Villareal. Both of them are interested in a player who plays for Tottenham, and that is Tengai and Dombele. Now the transfer move is going to be on loan, whereas there might be a buyout option included. It seems that AC Milan, Real Betis, Everton, as well as Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest are all interested, but the talks are less advanced. The teams which are really, really into him are Napoli as well as Villareal. So let's see what happens with Ndombele. Now, in regards to another news regarding Barcelona, we'll be reporting about there was this news breaking in that both Andreas Christensen and Frank Kessie, who have signed on a free, have a clause that let them leave Barcelona for free if they are not registered in time for La Liga. But there was this big update in regards to both of the players where they have mentioned that they are both relaxed about the situation and they would want to stay at Barcelona regardless of what happens. So let's see what happens in their, you could say, in their whole aspect, because Barcelona have other players to register as well. So let's see, in 2 days' time, we will get to find out what happens with Christensen as well as Frank Kessie. Now, in another news, it's regarding Barcelona. It has to do with Frankie de Jong. Barcelona have once again reiterated, they have told Frankie de Jong that he must take a 50% pay cut or leave the club. So it seems that Frankie de Jong is being pressurized by Barcelona to understand this aspect that Barcelona are not going to pay him, and Frankie de Jong has to accept that fact and move over to a new team, and he has to think about his future in which there is no Barcelona. But still, Frankie de Jong is again, he is kind of not giving in terms of that he wants to leave Barcelona or if he's willing to take the pay cut. So let's see where does this come. And most of the people who are into this, who know more about this, they kind of mentioning this that they won't be surprised that if Frankie de Jong will be a hot subject even on the deadline day, and they expect that this will go on to the deadline day, and more of the things are like that. It was coming from Holland that there was a news coming in saying that Manchester United have agreed terms with Frankie de Jong and his agent. Now, the fact of the matter is that Chelsea are into him as well, but we still have to wait and see what is the will of the player. Like, would he want to move over to Chelsea over Manchester United, or would he be willing to work for Eric Ten Hag, to which he has done it already in the past with in Ajax? Let's see what the outcome will be. But the first and foremost thing is the agreement between him and Barcelona. Now, once if that is not sorted, questioning him which club does he join is not important at all. So in that case, it's more about what is the agreement between him and Barcelona. Once that is sorted, then we will find out which club will he go to, because it will come in the end and he'll have to choose. Now, moving over, we will be speaking about another transfer news, and this one has come from L'Equipe. You know, it's the number one newspaper in France regarding football. PSG could turn to Mohamed Simakan from RB Leipzig if they fail to sign Milan Skriniar from Inter. I think this kind of news, most probably sometimes there is some truth into this, but sometimes I do tend to think that, PSG is such a huge club and they've got lots of financial aspects with them, but then there's FFP and they have to be pretty careful because the contract that they've offered to Mbappe is quite magnanimous. And, if you are interested in a place such as Skriniar, Inter Milan, when they look at that, you're giving such a hefty salary to Mbappe and you're giving him the advance as well and the signing on fee as well. Now, when that comes into play, the club would think that, you know what, wait a second, you have cash with you. So how come if you want our player, you're not willing to pay premium for our player? Because if you think that our player is so important for you, then you should be paying us premium. And for that reason, Inter Milan are not going to budge on 80 million euro fee. They think that Skriniar 80 million euro is it's not something that it's stupendous. It's not something that they think that is completely, uh, you know, not okay. It's more has to do with legitimacy that, you know what, if you are willing to pay a certain player for a certain thing, then we have put a price on a player. And if you really want the player, then you have to pay that amount of money. So let's see what happens on that front. And I still think that Skriniar will come to PSG. It's more about an agreement. And I think that both of the clubs are coming to a point where they're thinking alike and in which Inter Milan are willing to sell him. Inter Milan has nowhere said that they're not willing to sell him. They don't want to sell him. They want to keep him. Haven't heard any sort of thing from Inter Milan. In fact, what we are hearing is that if you pay 80 million euros, you can speak to him and you can buy him from us. We haven't heard anything saying that even if you offer us 100 million, we're not going to sell him. They haven't said that. So that means there is a willingness from Inter Milan to sell him to PSG as long as PSG give in what the asking price is set by Inter Milan. So there you go. Anyway, we'll be working towards Chelsea now. Chelsea are working on deals to sign three players. One of them is Wesley Fofana. We expect a new bid coming in for Leicester City. Let's see what happens on that front. I think that James Madison and Wesley Fofana time is coming up at Leicester City. They'll be moving on, and Leicester City are looking to earn as much as they can from this deal. The second player, which is in their radar, is Aubameyang. Aubameyang is playing for Barcelona right now, and apparently he does know Thomas Tuchel. He has worked with him. Now, would Aubameyang look at Lewandowski and think that will he get any play time? I think it's going to be much more harder because Lewandowski is going to be an automatic starter. For that reason, Aubameyang will have to think that he has to get to a team where he gets to play regularly. He gets selected every single time, and I think he will explore this option. But let's see what he does in terms of making the decision. Now, the third player that they're looking into is Cesare Casadei, and I think it's edging closer where they will get Cesare Casadei, and I think that Thomas Tuchel is going to be quite happy if he gets him. Now, we will be moving over to Marseille. They have turned their attention to the signing of Eric Bailly from Manchester United after sealing a deal for Alexis Sanchez. I think Eric Bailly is going to be quite a demand for many of the clubs because at his price, at his age, at his quality, I think everybody would be looking to add Eric Bailly in their team. It's just a matter of what play things, which club does he choose, and where does he go and play. We'll be moving over to another news in which Arnaud Calimundo has joined Rennes for close to 25 million euros. He will undergo his medical today, and PSG will receive 25 million euros. And PSG will use that money to get Fabian Ruiz of Napoli in a 35 million euro deal. And I think they're trying to raise some cash with this 25 million euros. They'll just have to pay 10 million euros more in order to get Fabian Ruiz. Now, we are going to be moving forward and we will be speaking to you about Fulham have signed Diop from West Ham United for initial 15 million pounds plus some add-ons, and he has put his pen to paper for a 5-year contract. Now we will be heading to another news, and we're going to be speaking about Ismail Sarr. Many clubs are following Ismail Sarr situation as a potential final signing, but there are no proposal from Leeds United, even though there were rumors. There are no negotiations ongoing between Leeds and Ismail Sarr or even Juan Mata. So there you go. And in another news, we will be reporting about Newcastle United. This is a big one. Newcastle United are preparing a proposal for Gonzalo Ramos as a new top target. Discussions ongoing on play side and talks will continue with Benfica. Paris Saint-Germain have Ramos in their list since June, but there's still nothing agreed. Newcastle United are pretty much on the case and they want to add him. Now, we will be speaking about another news, and it has to do with West Ham United and Sevilla. They're both keen to sign Taylor Kerrer of PSG. Let's see if they will be able to get him. And I'm sure that PSG are trying to raise some cash just to be on evens with the FFP. And right now, Manchester City have also already booked a medical test for Sergio Gomez after deal agreed with Anderlecht. And the fee is going to be in excess of 15 million euros. So Gomez will sign the new contract and be a Manchester City player. Now, we will also speak about Real Madrid. Real Madrid president Fiorentino Perez have said that with the squad we have, we do not contemplate any more signings for Real Madrid this team this summer. So that means said that the business is done for Real Madrid, and Real Madrid are pretty much happy with the squad. But next season we will see what kind of additions do we need to do, and that's the message they have sent across to their fans. Now we will be speaking about Valencia. Valencia will complete Nico deal on Thursday. The documents are signed with Barcelona, and the medical is scheduled. Uh, so let's see if Valencia will get their man. Hopefully, they will do so. Right now, we are gonna be reporting about another transfer news that I have got here with me, and this one is quite interesting. It has to do with Arsenal, it's Pablo Mari. He has signed a new contract as a new Monza player. So the deal signed between the clubs and Monza will cover full salary, and then Arsenal will receive 5 to 6 million euros fee in case. That's the deal agreed between Monza and Arsenal. Now we will be also speaking about another player regarding Manchester United, and it has to do with Cody Gakpo. Manchester United are discussing him internally. He would love a Premier League move while talks are still ongoing with the Adrian Rabiot scam. £17 million fee already agreed with Juventus. Gakpo is one of the names in the list alongside priority target Anthony. No officials bid yet, so let's see what happens with Manchester United and Gapco. I hope there will be some sort of agreement done and it will be all over. And guys, that's all the news that we have so far right now for this afternoon session. Hopefully, there'll be more news coming in for the evening session. Hopefully, you'll be tuning in then. So, I want to thank everyone who's been watching us, and please do subscribe, press that like button, and I hope to see you soon by the evening session. By then, I hope there'll be much more news that we'll have to report. So, thank you very much.